Hello everybody, this is Zoe from No Safer Place, and today I am here reviewing a show that I saw recently. Now this was an experience of a show that I will never forget, and most of it is not for the right reasons. So the show that I'm reviewing today is Frozen the Musical at Theatre Royal Drury Lane. I went on a Thursday matinee. It was during term time, so I stupidly assumed that there wouldn't be as many children there as there were usually. Obviously I know this is heavily aimed at children, but I honestly thought that the majority of the audience would be pretty good at following theatre etiquette. So the first part of this video is going to be all of the negatives, and I just want to get them out the way before I can show real appreciation for the show itself. And it's really strange because it wasn't just full of children, it was also full of drunk women as well, which I found a really odd time and place to be getting drunk, but there we go. So the negatives of the show and the experience in itself was that there were children and adults singing extremely loudly throughout. Now, when children are singing it, it's a little bit annoying, but not as bad as when adults are, and adults were actually the worst. Especially during the really popular songs like Let It Go. I really wanted to hear Samantha's voice, and all I could hear was the drunk woman behind me singing at the top of her lungs. There were so many people getting up midway through songs. Again, I understand if a child needs to go to the toilet, but I mean there were adults getting up to go to the toilet, getting up to get drinks, getting up to shout out loud and ask for booster seats, and it's kind of like that is what the interval is for. If you've got any problems or you want a drink or you need to use the toilet, that is what the interval is for. And then when the interval did come, I came back from the toilet and the people behind me that had been singing loudly earlier had their feet on the back of my seat. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the atmosphere that this show had. It wasn't what I was expecting at all. And then probably the worst part for me was booing Oliver Roberson, and not just at the time when Hans does his unspeakable thing and says his horrible truth, but also at the end when the bells are going on and everyone's receiving a clap for the amazing performance that they've done. Oliver Roberson, who plays Hans, was just completely booed. There were no cheers afterwards, so it wasn't like a light-hearted tongue-in-cheek thing. They were just booing him, and it kind of felt like a pantomime vibe, and that is not what the theatre is. The theatre is extremely expensive compared to a pantomime, and the kind of atmosphere I want or am expecting when I pay money to see a show. I mean, I was lucky that I got £20 tickets, but if I had paid more for it, I probably would have complained because it just wasn't on. And I've seen a few shows now since theatre, and I know the etiquette has gone down a bit, but this show was just next level, and it really took away some of the magic for me. Now, that is all the bad, horrible stuff out of the way. Let's talk about the show itself. When I received the tickets in the post, not only are they paper tickets, which I love because they're the perfect souvenir, it's a beautiful ticket. Like, look at that, how stunning is that? It's a perfect souvenir. Yeah, we were sitting in the balcony. I have to admit that we were in the restricted seats, and they were quite restrictive, I'm not going to lie. We did miss a bit of the show, but for the price I was happy with that, and it did say restricted view when I bought the tickets, so that was something that I was already prepared for. Personally, I think Frozen suits a musical format more than it suits a film format. I loved the film, I thought it was brilliant, but it is so much better as a musical. It is so good. Even the songs themselves, they sound so much better on the stage. This was the first musical I'd seen since December 2019, before everything with COVID had happened. And when the opening song started, you know, the iconic I started crying. I got goosebumps and chills instantly. It was just so magical to be watching a musical for the first time in almost 2 years, and it be one that I'm just so familiar with and love so much. Oh, just tingles. It was amazing. As I say, the music was so much better on the stage, so if you like the music in the film and you think that the music in the film is special, wait until you see it on the stage. Obviously all the iconic favourites that you already know and love, such as Let It Go, In Summer, For the First Time in Forever, You Want to Build a Snowman. They're all in there, amazing. There were some new ones too, and some new favourites. One of the new songs that I hadn't heard is now my favourite song from Frozen. I hadn't listened to the soundtrack before. I wanted to go in blind to this, and I was so pleasantly surprised. Monster was just incredible. Samantha Barks was just, in that moment, she was so good. There's a song called Hugo, and when I watched that scene, I felt like I had just taken some kind of narcotics. I felt like I was on drugs, to be honest. It was absolutely bonkers. Loved it, but absolutely bonkers. And it's just stuck in my brain, the not Hugo. It's been in my brain ever since. So Monster is a new one, Hugo is a new one. I Can't Lose You, that's a new one, and actually I think that replaced For the First Time in Forever, the reprise, because the reprise of The First Time in Forever wasn't in the show, which I was a little bit disappointed about, but I Can't Lose You is a fantastic song nonetheless. Let's talk about my top 3 songs. My top 3 songs in the show. Number 1, definitely Love Is an Open Door. Not because of the song itself, but mainly just the choreography, fun, the silliness. It was just adorable. It was full of so much character. So watching that be performed was just amazing. The second one, which is my favourite song, is What Do You Know About Love? As I say, I didn't know it before I saw the show. I went in blind and it was just incredible. And then number 1, I know it's cheesy, it's cliche, but it's Let It Go. I've got to say, the moment when watching Let It Go, it was almost as iconic, if not as iconic, as the moment in Defying Gravity when Elphaba has her time to shine. That is exactly what it felt like with Elsa in Let It Go. Everything about that song was incredible. The staging, the lighting, the effects, the choreography. Her voice was just sensational. The costume change, oh my god, did they nail that. That dress is just stunning and I wish I could own that dress myself. Yeah, that was definitely one of the greatest moments that I've seen on stage. It was just incredible. A song that I didn't really like on stage was Fixer Upper. I felt like it really lost something, and I think it wasn't the song itself, it was the fact that there aren't trolls in it anymore. And I know that seems strange because it shouldn't really change the mood of the song that much, but it wasn't light-hearted and funny. It was quite serious, and because of the lack of trolls, that felt even more serious. So yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with that song. Samantha Barks and Stephanie McKeon. McKeon? I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's McKeon. Were just perfect casting. Their voices, individually and together, was just magical. They worked so well together. They just sounded like they were made to perform together on stage. And they have great chemistry. They pull off being sisters really well. Yeah, amazing casting. Hans and Olaf, also great and worthy of a mention, but the star of the show for me was Kristoff. The Kristoff in the London adaptation of Frozen is the greatest thing I have ever seen. I am full on in love with him. His voice, when he hits those low notes, wow, chef's kiss, pure bliss. His voice is just so smooth. He gives me major George Washington vibes from Hamilton. I remember when I first heard his voice in the show, I turned to my friend Rebecca and I was like, he would make the best George Washington in Hamilton. He just captured the essence of Kristoff perfectly, and I want to hear him sing Lost in the Woods and get this right because I just want him to sing all the Kristoff songs. Yeah, just love him. He is definitely my favourite character by far. Another person that I wanted to mention was the young Anna at our performance. She was incredible. She was full of sass, full of fun, full of character. I absolutely loved her. And for children that young to know so many lines is just amazing. Now, the set and the staging were really grand and spectacular, which is kind of what I was expecting. It's a huge scale production. The stage in itself is massive. Yeah, there are a few bits that just completely blew me away. In What Do You Know About Love, that there's a bridge that comes out that Anna and Kristoff are walking across, and it just seems to be never ending. Like, how is this ice bridge fitting on this stage. It is insane. As I say, I sat in the balcony. I was in row B, right on the aisle. As I said earlier, it is quite restrictive, but I am short and the tickets were £20, so I'm not sure what more you could expect from tickets that were so cheap. Another thing that left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth was the merchandise prices. Oh my god. I wanted to get a few bits, but I saw the prices and I was like, no. It was £10 for a pin. My friend Rebecca, she bought a blanket which was £40 for a small fleece blanket. It did come with a free reusable cup, but that was worth £20 as well for a plastic reusable cup. I got this program which was £6. They did have another one for the photos and that one was £10. I thought the program prices were pretty reasonable compared to everything else. And I also got these. They were very expensive for what they were, but I loved them. It's Elsa Gloves, the Royal Agreement of Queen Elsa. They look like that on the front, and then have the cold never bothered me anyway on the side. They are beautiful, but they should be beautiful because they were £30 for a pair of gloves. I know, crazy. As for the story itself, there weren't really many changes to the original story of Frozen, so if you did take kids along, very easy for them to follow the story. I would say that the stage adaptation feels a lot more adult than the film does, so I think you would need a really good child who pays attention for them to be able to sit for that long and still be entertained. Me, as an adult, absolutely loved it, and because of the terrible theatre etiquette when I went, I do want to try and go again and see if it is any better, because the performance itself and the cast were just absolutely outstanding. So it's a little bit frustrating that it was spoiled a little bit by the audience themselves. I think it would be easily fixed by just having an announcement at the beginning, because they tell people to turn their phones off and not to take photos, and strangely those rules were followed. So just a simple no getting up during performances unless you absolutely have to, and no singing along, maybe that would help. I don't know, but something needs to change because that can't be happening every performance. It can't be nice for the cast, and it's not nice for other audience members. Yeah, I'm sorry this was a little bit of a negative review, not about the show itself, because the show is just sensational and all that I thought it would be and more. It is that good. And now I'm just in love with the guy who plays Kristoff. And that is everything. Let me know if you've seen Frozen. Let me know how your experience was in the audience. I would love to know if that was just a one-off for me or it is like that all the time. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a like, comment, subscribe, all that usual good stuff. Also, you can turn on the notification bell to be notified when I upload new videos, which is usually around once a week. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. Let me know what you would like to see more of on my channel, and I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you. Bye.